by Belquist, and he does an inverted twist. Is he in? He is. Touchdown, Bo Belquist, and that could be George Taggart. Simon Rumfo has it. Simon inside the 5. Sis boom ball. Simon Rumfo, his second touchdown today.
UND Football 360.
Isaiah trying to get outside, a stiff arm, shuts him down, 20, inside the 15, down to the 13-yard line. Oh, that right arm, that stiff arm, and the book of Isaiah has given North Dakota a first down.
Analysis, commentary, news, and a look ahead. It's all things UND football. This is the UND Football 360 podcast with your hosts Kelly Howe, Matt Nelson, and Dave McNamara.
Well, the road has not been kind to us the past 2 weeks, but the good news is we return to the friendly confines of the Alaris Center the next 2 weeks.
We get our blankie back at the Alaris, I think.
Yeah.
So after those two rough ones.
We'll see how the home field plays out in the final 2 weeks. But, fellas, not the 2 weeks we are looking for going on the road. We'll get more into that. But high school football playoffs still going on. We've got deer hunting around the corner. There's a lot of things going on besides UND football right now.
Yeah.
I will be out and about Friday at noon.
Yeah.
Ready to go. Gun loaded in the car. No, I'm just kidding. Actually,
Safety third, Kelly. Safety third.
Actually, I got in trouble for that about 15 years ago. So, yeah, they don't like that when I just used to pull, just slide it back a little bit so it's not locked.
Yeah, technically,
just,
I guess
just pull
loaded.
Back a little bit
Yeah.
so it's not like, but it can't be in there. Yeah, I
Okay,
kind of
right.
forgot that point, and
Notes.
I didn't even think about it. I'm like, yeah.
Never go hunting with Kelly.
I know.
I'm writing that down here.
No, but I've changed my way. You want to get
The nice thing
all it
about
takes is one time.
the Friday opener, though, is especially with shots like you've been bragging about all fall, you can get to the Alaris Center Saturday at
Right.
1 o'clock, right? The
Right.
deer's taken care of.
Well, if someone else helps out. Yeah, usually, like I said, I give it about 2 or 3 hours of me trying to shoot it, and then when I miss a handful of times, like, all right, everyone have at it.
I'm getting kind of cold. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to go sit in the truck.
No, don't be afraid to shoot, guys. You see one, don't be afraid.
For me, I'm such a good shot. They have me come second weekend to clean everything up
No.
that everyone misses. No, that's a lie.
Must be.
If it was me and you hunting Kelly, we probably wouldn't have meat in the freezer for about 30 years. Yeah,
Yep.
I'm guessing you and I hunt very similar. But again, we want to thank our sponsors that make the UND Football 360 pregame show week to week during the football season possible. Rumor Sports Bar, Grill and Casino. You think those big cool ones were good the last 2 Saturdays watching UND on the road?
Well, beers are probably good for a while. And it started to turn on the people a little bit as they were waiting for us to pull out the win. But hey, it's a great place to watch it all the time because
It sure is.
no shortage of TVs in there, as we found out.
Yep, during the week, $7 lunches too. You
Yeah,
can't beat
delicious
that.
too.
Development Homes Inc., Gaming, Simulcast Horse Racing, Pulltabs, Blackjack, Pig Wheel, our favorites here at the UND Football 360 pregame show. The Kelly Howe Agency, Nodak Insurance. You all covered for that hunting accident coming up this weekend?
Yeah, liability.
Yeah.
Right? We got the liability extended.
That's
right?
a good one
Is
this
that a
week.
balloon policy too?
Yeah.
The Toasted Frog, fine dining in downtown Grand Forks and Fargo. The 1883 Collective, that NIL arm for UND Athletics. If you haven't heard, there's the new way to be a part of it for businesses, and it's a great new way to get involved in the 1883 Collective. Check it out if you want to help out UND Athletics. Interstate Industrial, steam cleaning and painting in the Bakken oil fields. Marty Shaide, thanks so much, Marty, for your continued support. And American Solutions for Business, Tank McNamara, pretty much anything you need a logo for, whether it's apparel or promotional products, print, I can help you out. Go to tanklogo.com. Well, it's that time. The Kelly Howe Agency game review, 35-31 to Indiana State. And guys, I'm going to go back to the first half, and not to put it on anybody, but that special teams mishap, the punt right before halftime, where we had a chance maybe to go up 2 scores. I just felt that was a big part of the game for me.
Well,
kind of sums it up, right?
Doubt creeps in.
Yeah,
doubt creeps in because when you're unsure of yourself on the road to begin with, and
then you start to, well, we can't lose 2 in a row on the road, and then you kind of get in your head, and then things kind of just spiral out of control, and then, gosh, we got to play better, and then you go into the locker room like that, and it's really hard to overcome that once that creeps in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to. Obviously, we're not going to blame.
And
on
I'm
Bo.
not pitting on.
Yeah.
But
it was a big play in the game.
Yeah,
it was, and Bo,
a big momentum swing.
He took his eye off the ball. It looked like hit him in the chest. So he lined it up correctly, depth wise, like a center fielder. He lined it up correctly. It hit him in the upper chest and just bounced off. I think he was, looking to navigate his way first and catch it. And he's good enough. He can probably look to navigate his way, gauge it, and catch it all at the same time. He's done it 100 times, right? Well, this was the one where it bounced off his chest.
I don't want to make it sound like I'm putting it on. It's just the play.
It had to be brought up,
right?
Because it was a big play right before half.
We got to stop. So much momentum going up into that, and it could have changed the outcome. He got a
touchdown right before that. I think he was the touchdown right before that in the end zone, little RPO. So, it was going fine. But it was just one of those days again where you could tell it wasn't clicking. I look at my notes. I got a lot of notes here, and not many of them are positive. It was just we allowed 227 yards rushing again. It's just too much.
So what's the pinpoint on that?
I don't know. I don't even
when
know
you watch
anymore.
It back.
I don't. Well,
is it positioning? Is it?
I think we're down.
Play calling? Is it the scheme? Is it?
Well, one thing I noticed, we're down D linemen, right? I think because they're hurt. We're going to 2 D linemen a lot. And in spread packages, we're going to 2 D linemen and 2 outside backers on the end. Okay, I mean, I get, it's a different look. I understand that. But it can't tell me there isn't a fundamental issue up front there with running that versus, if they run inside zone, or something like that. Right? Yeah, outside zone, probably.
With 2 D linemen with their hand on the ground, you lose so much gap integrity, too, right up front where, now you're not getting your nose guard that's getting double teamed. You take that threat away up front. You take, your defensive ends who, if they're good, they'll double team them or, make sure that they take care of the inside threat for gap integrity and stuff like that. But when you go to 2 D linemen, boy, you really handicap yourself for the inside zone run. You start getting gashed, and well, what happened in the game? I mean, we got gashed all over the field with the run.
And another note I have, open field tackling was horrendous. Oh God, it was back to, they looked tired, they looked hot, they looked, just out of sorts. The Indiana State kept they either swing it to the back or throw a 3-yard hitch or something short. We'd come flying up 100 miles an hour and miss them, run right by them, and then they'd take off, get the first down. Somehow it's just it's demoralizing. I've used that word. I use that word a lot because when I played, it's demoralizing when you're on defense and a team can run right at you and you can't stop it, or third down you can't get off the field. Those 2 scenarios
where
are
you're
the
there,
most demoralizing.
especially when you're there.
Yeah, you
feel have an opportunity to make the play, and
seems like it. Yeah, I mean, we had guys there, but I don't know how many came flying up 100 miles and probably didn't need to be flying up that fast. But they're young, they're trying to get after, trying to make a play, and then just go, dive at the feet of the person, roll right by. It's just, it was one of those things where we've watched this before.
Mm-hmm.
We're not breaking news here. It's been, I don't know exactly what's happened with the defense the last 4 weeks, but it's just not the same. I mean, we spent the first 4 weeks talking about how
is it the injuries,
wild and active.
We were overperforming. I mean, the Montana game, great example of that, where our defense just decided to, nope, we're not giving it another inch, and then just shut everything down. And whatever that was, we don't have in our games right now.
Is it the injuries?
I mean, you can.
Same guys are out there, and that's just a few D linemen. Our linebackers are out there, our safeties are out there, our corners are out there, outside linebackers are out there. I mean, Rucker, Navertil, they're still out there.
You have the same leaders out there. So
it just looks different, and the teams adjust. Okay, yep, they're probably attacking us different. They had four game tapes, so they're attacking differently. But we can adjust too, and we can learn what teams are doing to us. We haven't mentioned like Wyatt Pedigo's name much lately. I haven't seen much out of him lately. I mean, I know those guys are battling. I know they're out there playing, but it's just the big game-breaking plays that Pedigo, McNeil, Rucker, Navertil, those guys were making that we kept referring to, right?
Yeah. We talked about him every game for the first 3 games.
Quite as much. Navertil, a little bit. Yeah, I don't want to discard what he's been doing. He's having a good year, but just I don't know. It's just not happening. You know what I mean? It's like it's this show isn't to get into the X's and O's. We're not going to break it down for an hour. That would be a film study thing, but it's just not happening. That's the easiest way to put it. It went from happening to not happening, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
really.
There's not a decisive line in the sand where nope. After this happened, we started playing poorly on defense. No, it was just kind of this gradual thing that kind of just crept in over the last 3 weeks, and it's like, gosh, we normally make a play there, and we can count on us making a stop there. Or, boy, that's really uncharacteristic of us as of late. So it's hard to pinpoint what's actually going on. You can get into sports psychology, all that stuff once you get derailed a little bit, it's hard to get back on the rails and regain that momentum. So, and we have 19 to 23-year-old young men on this team, right? So I mean, sometimes when you get thrown a few curveballs, it's hard to get back on the rails, right?
Well, and I don't know, it's UND. So, I mean, if we want to look into the numbers, I think they're 21-49 now on the road in the D1 era. And that's obviously awful. Okay. That's just not good, because at home, I don't even know what they are at home, but I'm just going to guess it's probably 90% win percentage if I had to guess.
I mean, we've lost like 3 to 5 games in the last, 8 years. But how much is it when the offense has the time, a quiet stadium? Are they doing stuff at the line
There's
the road?
Nobody at Indiana State. They
because you can't communicate in the Alaris. Is it that big a difference?
I don't think so.
For an offense against our defense?
I don't think so. I mean, I've seen a handful of false starts this year, but I don't think so. It's just like we just look more energetic. We just look better at home. Why? Well, you should. I mean, you probably should, right? Okay. But it shouldn't be that drastically different. They said there was 3,000 people there at Terre Haute. Tom Miller figured 200?
Yeah.
200 to 400. I mean, they must have sold 2,600.
I think they counted the band in that.
Yeah. So it was just, I don't know. We came in here. I put out the tweet this week. I just said, hey, this is just more of the same, right? It's been more of the same. This has been happening every year. We finish 7-5 every year, pretty much every year. 7-5. It's the same record every year. And this second half fall off happens every year. Whether we still get some wins, but it doesn't look the same. You know what I mean? Like last year, we beat NDSU. We go on the road, lay the egg to Northern Iowa. Terrible game, but all right. You still had, I think there was 4 games left after that. Not a big deal, right? But they never looked the same. Those 4 games, they did not look. We struggled mightily to beat Illinois State in that last game to make the playoffs.
And so how do you pinpoint what the actual issue is when we can look at last year after a big win? We had everything going for us. We had momentum. We had everything moving in the right direction. We're like, hey, we're doing pretty good. And then the same result happened last year as it did this year, where it just completely drops off the second part of the season.
After a
after a big win. But now we had a big loss. Well, we had this year we lost to NDSU, and then the same result happens after.
And it wasn't even a devastating loss, though. It was like you just got
we were never in that game.
Yeah, so it's not like they should have been down about it.
Right.
And the bye week came after.
Right.
We had a bye week after. So you have even if you are upset about, getting beat by NDSU, whatever. And even if you are upset about that, you had a week to recover.
Mm-hmm.
You had a week to get healthy, go to class, whatever. Go do whatever you do. And it hasn't been the same.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't. I mean, the offense, the offense has actually been themselves every game, it seems like. They're putting up 30 to 35 a game, 40 at Youngstown. I think they average 34 something. Run the ball, throw some RPO, but they're hitting downfield shots now.
Mm-hmm.
Simon's looking better every game. Simon played good again.
Yeah.
So Simon played well last week. Look at it. What was it? 18 to 26, 187, 2 touchdowns. Had an interception, but that happens.
Sacked twice.
Isaiah Smith ran for 104 yards. He looked good. The holes were there. We ran for 185, which kind of like that to be higher. But the offense has been consistent to where I think we know what we're going to get each week. Okay, they settled in, right? I mean, we're going to run the ball, hit some shots downfield, score 30. All right.
Could have used some more points against NDSU and Iowa State, but
well,
it's
right. Yeah. Those didn't go as well, obviously, but those are the two best defense we played, except for this weekend coming up. But I don't know. It's just I don't know how to explain it anymore. And I put out in my tweet. My tweet got a lot of cover. It had a lot of views and a lot because people I think resonated with the tweet. I don't know what to say. There's nothing to say anymore. Well, it's like it's the same thing every year.
We talked about it off air that we're out of excuses. Usually up until this point, we've been able to we just need to get this dialed in. We need to get our first home playoff game. We need to spend, there's always been something that we can kind of pinpoint and say, okay, we need to level up here. We need to get this filled in our program. And now we've done all of that. And we have facilities.
How long's the indoor facility been open?
We've had a home playoff game.
4 years?
Yeah. We've had all of these different things going on. We've filled all the gaps. We've caught up financially in our program. We're out of our frustration. And I think, based on my text messages that I get from all the other UND football alums, we're just kind of scratching our head. Like we can't make excuses anymore.
It's Groundhog's Day.
We get up. It's the same damn thing every year.
We know what's happening. So we're doing the show. I've been doing this for 15 years, everybody. 15. We started this blog 15 years ago, Craig and I. I've watched every game, whether it was I missed parts of some, obviously. I'm not perfect, but I had every single game on. Yeah, except for I went to Mexican Village. But I had every game on, and I can say this with a fact, at some point for 15 years. I had every game on. Road, home. I was either there or I was watching it, or I pulled it up later that night and rewatched the whole thing. Sometimes I rewatched them 3 times. Okay. Just went to get a feel for it. And it's, I don't even know what to say anymore. It's like, I'm out of, I can't believe it's happening again. It's like, we see it, we can see it. Matt, you've been doing it for a number of years now. And Tank's been watching UND football for 30 years. So you've seen the evolutions of the coaching staffs, right? I mean, coaching staffs, the way they run the programs, the way it's gone. We've had the high point was 16 against Richmond. I mean, let's be honest, it was 9-2, and we got hella lucky that year in a number of games where we picked off passes, brought it on Northern Arizona to win it.
Everything fell into place.
Yeah, everything fell into place.
Yeah,
except
the ball
for
bounced the
game.
right way, except for that last game.
Multiple times all year to get to 9-2. So but we also had high-end players, big time. Noah Johnson on the D-line. That's a guy people forget about. He was really good. D-line. Cole Reyes, our guy at safety. Dion Harris, we had a 6'4" corner. Okay. I mean, those guys aren't running around out there anymore. Okay. And it's not. So what's happening is we hit the midpoint but why are we? So then I was going to try to say we hit the midpoint and we get worse. why are we not getting better at the midpoint? I don't
when-
like NDSU last year. They were terrible in the Alara Center. They looked like the worst team in the country in the Alara Center.
They reset and then they went to the semifinals.
Yeah, and they got better.
And they got better.
Oh God, they got
But
way
so
better. They should have probably beat Montana out there,
it's also instilled in the program that
right.
you're gonna win, right? They
Yeah.
have that confidence where,
And so
Yeah, the confidence. Yeah, is
you
it
know what I
not-
mean?
It's not.
It's
there.
just it's instilled in the program that
belief. They
Yeah.
believe. Yeah.
well, and I've gotten this text message a number of times after we lose, is that the other team expected to win. We always want to win. I don't know if we always expect to win football games. And based on our play, that's kind of what is happening, where we want to win. I think our players are out there to win, but are we actually expecting to win this football game?
Right.
And sometimes I don't know if we're expecting to win the football game based on our play. Like when one thing bad goes wrong, it derails us to the point that we can't recover from it. Where if we expected to win this football game, we'd be okay. We can muster through any adversity we have in this football game and still get close enough to be able to win the football game. And we're there, but do we have the belief that nope, good things are going to happen?
And even if we had won these last two, it still probably would have been, like we said after Youngstown, we could have converted the 2-pointer and won, but we still would have been sitting in
We were scratching our heads.
studios.
How
and
the hell did
wondering,
that happen? We can't let that happen anymore.
Right, like it felt like a loss, type of a thing. Which
right.
I know you hate to say that, but then this past week, we could have won that one too. We were driving there at the end. I mean, we had the ball down to the 30-yard line, 40 seconds left, and we got sacked a couple times. But we could have pulled that out technically, and we still would have been here with even more fear in our, like, what is happening here? Now we got South Dakota State and South Dakota coming in. Oh boy. Type of a thing, like, this is not good the way we're playing right now. Yeah, we squeaked them out, but and it's just, you're to your point, Matt, the belief and expecting to win. I mean, I think that's what the program had, let's say from 93 to 2007, probably, till they might have expected to win and right at the start of the transition too, because they still were used to winning, and I know if I speak for myself, when we played, we expected to win every game. We weren't worried about anybody really. And, we didn't win them all, but we won the vast majority of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's just, like you said, I mean,
then you go back to 2003, that wild year, but you guys believed you could win every game.
Right.
I mean, it went down to the fourth quarter many times that year.
right.
And so
You find a way to win. Good teams find a way to win. Right?
That's right. And it doesn't
you
matter.
believe.
And, I've heard the argument, well, you guys were in Division II era, and athletics is the same, whether you're coaching 8-year-olds or I've never coached a professional athlete, but you listen to any interview, athletics is the same. Belief is the same. How you approach the game is the same. So it doesn't matter what level you're at. It's your expectation, your belief in yourself, the belief in your team. All of that is the same, whether you're coaching youth football, high school, college level. I mean, I see drastic differences in, some of my high school teams just based on, our philosophy that year. Like, do we believe? Are we competitors, or are we participating? And right now, I don't know what kind of a team we have. We go out there. Do we expect to win? I can't say that in all honesty that we expect to win every football game during the season.
Yeah, there was chinks in the armor. I don't want to, like, we were talking about defense earlier. There were some issues, like San Diego, the way that game started. Murray put up, the way that game started, but we overcame it quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right. So I was thinking, okay,
and we showed grit. It's kind of gotten washed away for some reason.
But I don't get it.
I don't understand it either.
But the whole point, to sum it up for everyone who's heard us rambling for the last 20 minutes or whatever it was, it's the same thing every year. Okay. And I mean, I don't know what's happening. You can blame it on the staff. You can blame it on the institutional. You can blame it on whoever you want, but it's a fact. And if everybody wants to keep denying it every year, they can. but it's too repetitive. I've been living this. I mean, from the outside. Now, I can't imagine on the inside, it's probably taxing, for the coaches that have been on this staff the whole time. Got to be 100 times worse. I get that. Fully get it. But from the outside, it's easier to get a 30,000-foot view of this thing and be like, hey, I know you guys are doing this, this, and this, but the same result happens every year.
Right.
Okay. Is anybody talking about that? Okay. Are the seasons play out the same way every single year? I put 2018 in my tweet. We're 5-2. We lose 2 in a row to go to 5-4, win the next one, 6-4. We have Sam Herder on. I still remember the conversation. Hey, Sam, we win this one or we in? Type of thing. He's like, yeah. He goes, you beat Northern Arizona on the road. You're in. I'm confident that North Dakota's in. All right. Go down there. Horrible football game. I think we lose 31-16. Look terrible. I mean, not even interested almost. And after the game, Bubba got rid of Rudy and Knopf and fired him because they had to change something up on offense, which it was a good move. It wasn't a program changer by any means, as it turns out, but the offense got a little more dynamic, a little more.
We're more
fun.
a physical football team now up front.
Yeah, it seemed
than we were.
Just the way that style of run, was just not working against good teams and stuff. So yeah, he had to make a change, and so we gave him credit for that. But then the next year we come back, 2019, and go 7-5 again, go down to Nickel State, give up 300 yards rushing in the playoffs, and it's just a cycle. It's just at some point we got to stop ignoring the elephant in the room here. It's like, what is going on a week-to-week basis or even a day-to-day basis to where we don't get better? The facilities are getting better.
Yeah.
The money, Matt, you already spoke to it. The facilities are getting better. The money's getting better. They're going to have brand new locker rooms. Coaches already got their new offices. Okay, so
the first of the year should be ready. Everything should be done about
everything.
Right?
Yep.
Our damn uniforms are better.
Yeah, they're getting new uniform. I mean, it's like the coverage is better. Everything's better, but the results are staying the same.
Mm-hmm.
So blame it on whoever you want. I don't know. It's not my job. I don't call for heads. I've done this for 15 years. I've never called for anybody's head. I want to know what the problem is, though. Right. I want to know why this is happening, because I wouldn't want anyone calling for my head. I don't want anyone at, in my former engineering world calling for my head. I don't want anyone at Nodak calling for my head.
You just want to understand why we get the same results. And we want UND to be successful. We want UND football to be successful. And I think what we're getting at is that as an alum of the program, we have a lot of pride in it. We want to be successful. We're trying to give the other alums who follow UND football and people who care about the program some, because coaches can't tell us like everything that's going on, or give us some answer some of these questions because they can't. So we're trying to give them some perspective on how do we fix this problem as somebody that's vested in the program, who's been there. And I think the frustration on our part is that looking at all the Dakota schools, well, gosh, NDSU figured it out. SDSU certainly has figured it out. They were a little behind NDSU.
Everyone has to remember they were no good in D2.
Yeah.
Okay, they were average. They were average team.
They never won a conference
5 wins,
championship.
6 wins, maybe 7. I mean,
they hit the playoffs every once in a while.
Pretty much like we do.
Yeah.
And now what's happened? Well, USD, holy shit, they've figured it out.
Right.
They beat NDSU in the Fargo Dome last year. They went to overtime with the Jackrabbits a couple weeks ago. I mean, so as an alum, it's watching all these other schools that had mediocre success against us in the Division II era. Now we're like, we can't figure it out.
Well, and the other reason why this stuff can be called out is because the little plucky program, D2, maybe FCS level, that's gone now. These guys are getting paid. Okay. They're getting paid through Alston money. They're getting paid through cost of attendance money. They're getting paid through NIL money now.
Right.
They're getting money coming in, and it's not tons of money, but it's a hell of a lot for a college kid.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So there's a lot of money happening is my point. And a lot of people are giving more money than ever. Okay. Than ever. I mean, donations are higher than ever been. Cost of tickets are higher than they've ever been. People are spending money. So answers need to be given. Okay.
Right.
I mean, this isn't Mayville. It's not NAI where, hey, you know what happens. All right. We're not paying anybody, but we're going to just compete and do the best we can. That's how it used to be. And that was okay. You know, you had to understand that. And hell, even at D2, when we were playing, guys got fired all the time. Like St. Cloud, I remember fired their coach. Mankato got rid of, Runkle just kind of moved on, I think, because he wasn't winning.
Right.
And, it was just, they'd be, so they were asking questions back then, 30 years ago of coaches. Hey, we got to do better type of thing. Now the stakes are higher than you can't avoid the criticism anymore. You got to win. And that's this isn't the SEC, but you still got to win. All right. And I don't know. It's just, it's maddening. I mean, we've been rambling for quite a long time on this, but I hope people enjoy it. I hope people know that we came here to cut a vein. Okay. And tell you my tweet kind of let it off. That was what I was thinking. This is following it up. I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore.
And, we're just amplifying a lot of the responses that we get too from other alums. I mean, I'm part of like how many different text message threads and, guys asking me questions. We have discussion. So, I mean, it's out there. Guys are asking, what do we need to change? What do we need to do? So hopefully this kind of ramble conversation helps a little bit. I don't know, but we don't have any answers either.
Saturday DMs were shambles. Like, I couldn't keep up, put it that way. And it was just people, diehard fans that are just tired. They're tired of, they want to take the next step. It's human nature. It's not even that, hey, this program right here needs to take that. No, it's just when you do anything in life, you just want to get better, or you follow a team, or you follow someone. You want to see them. Like my kid, he played corner this year in football, first year ever. First 3 games, not good enough. Okay. And I let him know that, hey, you're not competing. I said it right to his face. You got to compete. You're out there on your own. No one's helping you. Okay. You're at a corner. You can't hide in the middle of the line. Okay. So if you get beat, everyone sees it. All right. I need a little more out of you. You got to compete. You got to get it. Last 5 games, way better player. Just matured, got better. And I was proud parents sitting up in the stand. All right. Hey, he's battling. He got beat a few times. Yeah. Who doesn't? But every corner gets beat.
But he's out there. He's in the arena, I mean, like,
and he's battling. Hey, I was like, all right. Hey, at the end of the year, gave him a hug. Hey, you played hard. You got better as the year went on. That's what human nature wants to see. Mm-hmm. So it's not like we're asking for something unique here. The fans all my DMs were, I just want to, what's the problem? Why can't we get, why does this happen every year? Same thing we just talked about. They're
just over the hump.
Yeah.
The program needs to get over the hump.
And in not just one win, it's the end of the year. Like, hey, boy, week 11, we're playing better than we were week 1. That's it. Yeah. That's all we want to see.
I can't say that we've done that
ever
in recent history.
Well, let's talk about playoffs. Is that still a possibility? We're not mathematically eliminated, right?
The only way they get in, well, barring obviously winning out. Let's say they win 2 out of 3. The win has to be over South Dakota State, not South Dakota,
for sure, because
then you get the shock factor.
And then the resume, we've heard it before. You got to build the resume, right? Yep. And so that has to be in the mix. If we win against South Dakota, which we'll talk.
That'll be good. I mean, that'll be good.
I mean, if we can get both those South Dakota games in the win column, I mean, that would be.
Well, yeah, then obviously, because then you can go to Illinois State and you can win. You know what I mean? You can.
Or
go
can
there.
We?
Well, you can win.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
No, you can, because they're a pedestrian outfit on offense. So you got a chance against them at all times. But these other teams, I mean, Indiana State was pretty pedestrian too. So, but the point, like the only way, but barring 3 straight wins, let's say you get 2 out of 3. I don't think South Dakota carries the weight, because 7-5, we said it, in a 12-game season. I don't know if it does it. 7-5, those 7 better be pretty special.
Right.
Well, so if you present Montana and South Dakota State, all right, hey, or Montana and South Dakota, okay, but South Dakota's got what, NDSU coming up here.
Then do they look at these last two
drop
games
another
as
one.
bad losses?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they
Well,
are.
yeah, they'll look
Yeah.
at those. That killed us in the past, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. Had a bad
It was a
loss.
bad loss,
Quality
greater than a
loss.
Yeah,
big win.
quality loss. Remember that? I was sitting in the. You guys, hey, did you do that on purpose?
Yeah,
Are you trying to get Kelly fired up? I was sitting 2015.
I've been pouring gas on the Flair All podcast. I don't know if you've noticed it, but
God, I've said this. Anyone who's listened for a long time. 2015, I'm sitting there listening that next Monday. Still irate. I'm sitting in a parking lot at lunch. And Jack had him. I think it was Jack had that Mark Wilson, who was the head of the chair that year, right? He's on there explaining it because why did North Dakota not get in? Credit to Jack, got him on the fan, noon. And the guy's pulling out all, and he wouldn't say. And then he starts pulling out that quality loss thing.
Yeah.
Well, we felt Eastern Illinois had quality losses. Well, they had 7 wins just like we did. And there were 7 bad wins. They didn't have one good win. Okay. But the 4 teams they lost to were really good. Well, not really. They're in the Ohio Valley, right? So they get in over us. Okay. Because the quality. Next week, I think it was Northern Iowa. Beat them like 50-10 or something. Just destroyed them. I'm like, what the hell? Because UND was playing the best football they'd played all year. Now, that was the year, 2015. Let's give them credit. Those last 3 games, UND was looking really good. Went out to Pauley and just put a beating on them in that triple option.
Yep.
Killed them that last game. Looked great. Playing with energy. And, just quality. I got to stop here. I was not. Remember, we made that thing famous on Twitter and everything, that to the point where they stopped using quality loss. Because I kept saying it to anyone who would listen.
we do make a difference sometimes, right?
Let's take a trip around the Missouri Valley. NDSU beats Northern Iowa 42-19. No surprises there. South Dakota State 52-6 over Murray State. Missouri State, no surprise, over Southern Illinois 38-17, and Illinois State over Youngstown State 23-16. Kind of what we expected last Saturday around the league, right? No surprises.
Missouri State, no real surprise. Missouri State struggled a little bit and then pulled away late. Jacks killed them. NDSU, it's kind of a methodical, nice win. Nothing special there. Youngstown and Illinois State was back and forth. Youngstown had 2 points at half. I think it was a 2 at half, or they might have scored right before it, but it was 2. I remember saying to myself, really? Well, you just gave up 41. They have 2, and they ended up with 16, but it still doesn't look good. But it was pretty business. Yeah, business as usual type of thing. Jacks are getting, I think they're starting to put it together. We're going to get into that here next, but they're starting to figure out what they are this year. I think, I don't think they knew. Well, they lost so many guys. Not even putting them down. I don't think they knew what they were on offense. Like, what are we this year? We don't have the downfield threats readily available at all times, but they got them. But it wasn't consistent early on, but they're looking pretty solid. I watched a lot of that Murray game defense looking good. So we'll get into that next. But Missouri Valley, I think it's down to, who can make the playoffs here even?
Which we kind of said at the
maybe?
beginning of the year, right?
Yeah. We were the 5th, and we were the 4th or 5th, and we're teetering on the brink of being out. So they're down to Jacks. South Dakota, NDSU, and maybe Illinois State, because Missouri State can't get in, so they're ineligible. So it's down to those 4 that can get in unless we pull a miracle.
Well, that miracle is going to happen this Saturday, 1 o'clock, Alaris Center, 12 o'clock pregame on the radio network. South Dakota State Jackrabbits, the number 3 team in the country, coming to town, 7-2, lost to Oklahoma State and NDSU on the season. What are we thinking here, fellas? I think we need, I know it's the Deer opener, but let's get a good crowd in there, right?
Well, we need it.
They
obviously helped.
showed up this year.
They've been awesome.
The crowd has been great, and let's put butts in the seats on Saturday.
We've averaged
Let's
over
start there,
10,000
right?
fans a game, I think. So
Yeah, I think the lowest was 8,400. And that was just because I think it was the third out of 4 games in a row. I think it was San Diego or something, but it was San Diego. I think it was just because, like we said, you can only afford so much. I mean,
Yeah.
$20 a ticket, $50, whatever it is. Jesus, kids are going to bleed you dry in there, as we all know. So yeah, I don't know. It's they've done well. The crowd's done well. This is a different animal coming to town, though. We don't. We haven't seen a team like NDSU is the closest comparison, obviously, but Jacks. I don't know, guys. What do you? They're pretty good.
Yeah, they're consistently good. I watched the NDSU SDSU game, and then I watched South Dakota game that they played, and they're methodical, they're good. They've, like you said, Kelly, they found their identity, but the defensively, they still have a good defensive line that's hard to run against. I mean, they're big, they're physical. Offensively, that good footwork on the O line. I mean, they can run just about everything that they want to. I think Gronowski has kind of found his new role. I mean, he's been the quarterback for 4 years now, but he's found his groove this year now that he had a lot of supporting cast left to some of the NFL, just some to graduation. But I think the SDSU team has found their identity for sure.
Yeah, that strength up front. And you mentioned in our notes this week that we haven't been mauling up front on offense. This would be a good week to get that back, right?
Well, it would be, yeah. I mean, we're going to see 4-man front. Okay, they'll sit in a 4-man front, not a real high pressure team because they want to get home with 4, kind of like NDSU. And they don't have a ton of sacks, but they think they can get their speed you up enough with the 4 and then just cover up. And they're very active. I mean, they're everywhere. When you watch these games, their back 7 are they're good. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, there'll be initial holes there. I think one of those games where we can get hat on hat, double here, single there, something like that. Get the initial hole, but it's going to close in a damn hurry.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 yards,
right?
A pop, and
and you got to be okay with that for a while, and try to make somebody miss,
and hopefully get 4 or 5 in one of those.
Yeah, it's going to be, like I said, Jacks only give up 13 a game. That's outstanding. I mean, Jesus, they're good. I think they're ninth in the Missouri Valley with sacks. So they only got 14 sacks on the year. But like I said, they do enough up front in the pass game to where they cover up so well in the back end that they've gone that route where they're going to cover versus bring pressure because they don't have to. They think the 4 can do enough. Let's call it that. I mean, not a ton of sacks, but yeah, it's going to be hard. Our offense,
So how do you attack that?
Oh boy, I mean, they only give up 13 a game. I don't know. I don't know. I hope Isaac Frickty knows.
If you were putting something together.
Oh boy.
Work on the running game.
Downfield's not going to be there. I mean, it's downfield.
Stick with the run.
Yeah, you got to try to stick with the run. You got to try to hit windows. Got to try to hit the little window crossers, because there's going to be windows. Anytime you sit in a 7-man shell, there's obviously windows to that. And there's a little more time than you typically have versus a pressure team. But can the guys get open? Can they find those windows? Can Simon, can our pass blocking hold up versus their front 4? Because like you said, Matt, their front 4 big, strong kids, and we're not going to be plowing them in this one. It's going to be a lot of angle blocking, getting on them, moving them, moving. I mean, Murray State, they had some runs in there. They got some inside stuff that I noticed. There, you will get some stuff, but it's just, do you get in the end zone? They don't let you in the end zone. They'll let you move around the 50, but then all of a sudden it's like,
yeah, they'll tighten up. Man.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's I don't know how you attack it. It's a good question. It's a tough defense, and they got good players. They're long. They got some long safety linebackers, Spalding and Bach. they're good players. I mean, they're all conference All-American level players.
They don't make a lot of mistakes.
No.
And too, yeah.
No, they're sound. And, Jimmy Rogers, the coach, was the defensive guy. So it's a defensive mentality. But, flipping to the other side,
Well,
Sam Hagen, our guy.
And Danny.
Yeah.
Where do you throw Danny Freund into the mix? We haven't even mentioned his name yet.
Well, if you want to know, if they want to know how to attack the 3-4, Danny would be.
He might know something about it.
Might know.
He's seen it once or twice, or
yeah. Well, since he was on campus in 05 or whatever, he came to campus. Yeah. So he's seen it quite a bit. So I would imagine Danny will, and it just shows on tape. You don't need to, you don't need to really know that. They'll just see what they're doing on tape. When
you play these teams every year, there's not a lot of secrets, right? These guys don't see each other at coaching conventions and scouting camps. They all know each other, right?
Well, and Gronowski at quarterback, he's not having a Walter Payton year, award winner year again. He's down a little bit, but he's still good. I mean, he still can run when he needs to run. They're not running him as much. It seems like they're running that Chase Mason, the backup quarterback, who's similar size to him, looks just like him, but he's being a little faster, more dynamic. He comes in, and what's hurt us the most the last 2 weeks, guys? QB run.
Right.
Yeah. Uh-oh. So they bring this kid in and run the QB power, stuffer counter, QB counter stuff. And he's pretty good at it. So we're going to be, that's one thing to watch for. Obviously we'll have a package. He comes in the game, but there are times I think he's in with Gronowski. So then they motion him back. So we'd have to get into something quick, but we'll have those checks in, but it doesn't mean, then they don't run something off that, it's just a tough offense to defend. Wildy, 6'2", 200 receiver, good player, number 18. So he's kind of taken over for the Yankee twins. Good target downfield. I mean, they still got players, it's just not, they put 6 guys in the NFL on one side of the ball. Okay. Right to the NFL, and I don't know how many of them are still on a roster, but they're all on and off rosters all fall, and some are still on.
That's a good barometer of the level of talent they had. I mean,
it's I expect a whole lot of running from them, like a lot, and not just with Amar Johnson, or not just the running back number 3. He's good. He's real good too. He's taken over for Isaiah Davis. Last year he was with the Jets, I believe now.
Yeah.
So he's taken over for him. He's good. I mean, it's just I expect a whole lot. I mean, why you don't come into the Alaris and get cute. Danny knows. Danny will prep them and say, hey, weird things happen in that building. Visiting teams don't get a whole lot of weird calls going their way. Things just don't go your way. You have to kind of make it go your way in the Alaris Center if you're going to walk out of there with a win. So that's what I expect them to do. I expect a whole lot of running, just methodical, control the game, try to, take our heart, take our, take it away from us. I don't see, they're not going to suddenly turn into an air attack team against us, considering the last, how many weeks have we given up?
How many yards in rushing?
Yeah.
So it's, you could be a very mediocre offensive coordinator and look at the data that we have in the last 3 games. Right. I'm like, I think we're going to run the ball on these guys and be successful at it.
Sam Hagen, number 76, our guy, transferred down there when Danny went down there. He's starting at right tackle. Saw him out there, so that'd be interesting. See how he plays. I knew he'd be a good addition, for their team. He's a solid player. So their offense, 35 a game. Number 2 in yards in the Missouri Valley, 432. Number 1 rushing team in the Missouri Valley, 244 a game. So it goes back to what I just, So that's the game plan for them. But here's the other thing, though. The other caveat: when we get in the Alaris Center, suddenly our rush defense is better. We look better. We're a little more active. It seems. I don't know that for a fact, but it seems we're a little more active, a little more around gap sound, whatever you want to call it, right? I don't know. Do we all of a sudden show up a little bit? Now they'll hit you with some other stuff then if you're overcompensating up front for that. But we'll see. I mean, I don't see us looking like we did the last 2 weeks. I mean, am I off on that, or God, am I silence on the other end here, guys?
Uh,
Am I the only one?
no,
Sees us
I
way
think
better?
you're
Definitely, and
I think
you
you're
said
right.
the last
That-
couple weeks the energy hasn't been there.
Yeah,
So I think
Is this a
it's
shot?
coming back.
Yeah. Is this a shot in the arm that we need to be able to salvage the rest of the season? That if we come out and, put a good performance against Sdsu, is that enough? And is coming back to the Laris and then trying to forget everything that's happened the last 2 weeks. I mean, we've.
I
said it
hope they're doing a
before.
better job than we are, because this has been a pretty doom and gloom
Yeah,
podcast
we're
today.
Wow,
and
we're
we're-
5-4.
we got to
and
get
we're
this
losing
thing rolling
4.
ahead. You know?
And we have the best team in the country coming to town. So I mean, if that doesn't instill a lot of confidence, I'll be honest.
Well,
with-
if they're going to get up, it should be this week.
they-
all
they-
right? I mean,
If
Because you do that
if they have
every
grit-
game now becomes a playoff game. Do you use
That
that
happened.
mentality? Does that change things on a day-to-day basis when you're getting ready?
It should have been
last week.
3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. I mean, in the teams that I played on, like if you lose, an early game, and we did that in 03 too, where we lost a game we shouldn't have lost, and it's like, well, damn,
Was it your fault?
yeah, probably,
Okay,
yeah,
just checking.
yeah. Well, I mean, defensively, we played awful. I think it was Mesa State that we lost to.
That,
the
I
first-
remember that. That was your fault.
Yeah, it was
No.
probably. We just had a bad game. We weren't focused. We just didn't play well on offense. We did poor on defense. But from that point forward, we're in the playoffs. Like we had that mentality, and that's what gave us but that has to happen early on in the season, not at 5-4 scrambling and clawing to just stay alive. Right. So
Yeah, it's it'll be interesting. It'll be a good game. It's good to have these back on the schedule again. Be fun. I mean,
it'll
getting
draw a
them
big
coming to
crowd.
home. Oh yeah. Yep.
They'll have a lot of
crowd.
fans there.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's probably down to prediction time here, guys. Yeah, we've said all that there is to say. Another thing I noticed, I think we talked about it last week. Special teams. It's not much. Not much happening?
No, normal. I mean, by this time last year, we had two runs for touchdowns off of kickoffs. I mean, we have
3 phase.
3 phase. Yeah. Well, we have a blocked punt, right? We blocked the punt so far
But
this year.
lately,
The last 3 games, we've been pretty dormant
Right.
on special teams.
So if we win the toss, do you take the ball? Look for a little spark right away?
I might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, and so with the way they're not stopping I think the possessions, they figured out, we're down. And they've tweaked that a little bit with the 2-minute warning thing, I think. But the possessions were down, so teams are starting to take the ball first just to make sure they get another possession, type of thing, and
Right.
try to steal one before the half or something. And yeah, you got to do something. You can't just send your defense out there after the last couple weeks and say, all right, hey, because usually
Set the tone, gentlemen.
yeah, teams have gone down the field and scored on us is the point, and that's not a very good start. So, yeah, I definitely take the ball, and like I said, the offense hasn't been the issue. Evidently, the defense hasn't played nearly as good as they have earlier. We can't count on the offense to score. I mean, they're not going to be able to put up 40 this week. Okay, these guys give up 13, so it's going to be we need 3 phase this week. I mean, if there was ever a week, 3 phase, it's this week. The special teams got to do something. So I don't know. Tank, we'll let you start it out first.
First time, but I just a lot has to happen for us to win, and I hope I'm wrong in what I've seen and heard the last couple of weeks. I think like a 42-24 game. I think we'll put some points up, but it's going to be hard to stop them.
42-24 Jacks.
Yeah.
Okay, Matt.
Well, I have a same score, but it's going to be 24 Jacks, probably 10 for us. I would see, I just with their defense of being so good, and we've just been struggling on the road. Obviously, it's a different in the Laris, but and their offense and our ability to stop the run, it's a tall order to be able to beat this team, even though we're in the Laris. It could be close at halftime, but I think once their machine starts methodically kind of cutting limbs off on us, I think it's going to be a slow bleed in the second half. So, it could be 7-10, 7-7.5. It could be, things are looking good, but then I think just the methodical slow death in the second half is maybe what we're looking at.
Right. Yeah, I just counting on us to all of a sudden flip the switch and look better in the Alara Center is not a good plan. It's just I think in the past we felt that way, but we never counted on it. We felt like, hey, they'll look better at home or whatever, but I don't know. You can't just count on that. You can't, it seems like as soon as you count on that is when you lose by 40 or something and just look terrible.
And in the past, it seems like, gosh, we had a really bad game against, let's say, Sdsu down in Brookings. Yep. Well, we have Illinois State in town. It should be a game we should win. We'll look good, get some momentum for the next game after that. Well, playing the number one team in the country isn't a good game to be let's get some momentum back in this game, right?
And I haven't been close the past couple of weeks. That's why I kind of picked this one. So I hope I'm way wrong.
Well, let's
way off. Yeah.
Well, we mostly the fans. I mean, everyone in my DMs was, we just want us to look better. I think just look the part, just enthused, fast, flying around, team ball, making things happen. And that we didn't see that the last 2 weeks for the most part. I mean, obviously, they did. I'm not trying to make a general statement, but it just wasn't there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this week, I think we're just looking for the next step. We're not expecting us to knock off the 2-time defending national champions.
Yeah.
Neither, obviously, by our predictions, we're not expecting that. We just want us to look better. I mean, look like the team we saw the first 4 weeks. So, I'm going to go 34-17 Jacks. I mean, I think we can put up some points. I don't know how they'll come, but I think we can. And we put up points every week, but it's just like you said, Matt, I don't know where the stops are going to come from because they'll just change. If we cover up something, which I think we're going to, like, let's say we take away the outside zone game, we take away something up front. All right. They're going to get us on something else. They're too good. They don't get bottled up by one thing, so they'll change real quick. The offensive coordinator will do something else. And then can we change quickly with that? And it's just hard. It's too hard. They got a lot of guys. So I'm going to go 34-17 Jacks. I mean, just got to live in the real world with this one. Hopefully, UND comes out, looks better at home, but we got to see it. After the last 2 weeks, everyone's just got to see it first.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, do it from the Alara Center. Get your butt in there. Support this program. 1:00 kickoff at the Alara Center. 12 o'clock pregame on the radio network. Catch Jack Michaels, Coach Berg, Paul Ralston. They'll have the game for you on the radio. Fellas, fun week, and we'll do it again next week, regardless of what happens.
That's right.
We'll be back. Yotes next week. Hopefully a little more upbeat. Sorry, fans, but hey, we had to cut a vein a little bit. We had to call it what it is. We didn't want to get you down, but hey, everyone, we all love this program. Okay, we love it. Everyone loves it. We're all in the same boat. But some things just need to be talked about.
That's
right. All right? And that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
And we'll be back next week talking about it. South Dakota State and UND coming up from the Alara Center, 1:00 this Saturday.